If you have pets like I do, this video is just for you. Today I'm creating all things pets for a tiered tray. Stick around to the end to see a slideshow of all my pets. This first project is inspired by all 4 of our pets. Project number 1. For this project, I'm going to be painting 2 of these larger wood beads and 6 of these smaller wood beads that came in a multi-pack from Dollar Tree. I'm using Waverly chalk paint and ink. I'm also going to be using this wood house. I think this was from Dollar Tree, but it might have been from Target Dollar Spot. And I'm going to give it a couple of coats of Waverly chalk paint in white. Next, I'm using 2 popsicle sticks, and I'm using my miter shears to cut those down to add as the roof. These will also get a coat of Waverly ink chalk paint. Next, I will paint the top of the house in Waverly chalk paint as well. Using hot glue, I will attach the popsicle sticks to the roof. Now for the next part of this project, I'm going to be using the reverse graphic method. So I have printed off a saying on my LaserJet printer and I've mirrored the image, and then I'm adding Mod Podge, and then I will lay the image down on the Mod Podge and let it dry overnight. Now I'm going to finish up while the Mod Podge dries using the wood beads. I'm gluing them on as shown here to look like paw prints. The next day, I'm using a wet paper towel and I'm dabbing it onto those words until you can see the words come through the paper. Once they are good and damp, I'm going to be rubbing back the paper with my fingers, and it works better if you keep your fingers a little bit wet the whole time. You would then need to seal this piece as well, so I just used more Mod Podge to seal the top of the words. Today's video is part of the Minis Challenge. It's a monthly playlist hosted by Crafted at Corey. I'll have her channel listed in the description box along with the playlist. This month the theme is Anything Goes, so that's why I chose pets. Project number 2 is inspired by our cat Stormy. Stormy is a rescue and she's 3 years old. For some reason, I forgot to video the first part of this, or I didn't have it turned on, but this wood cat I found at a thrift store. It was just plain wood. There was no painting on it at all. So I gave it a coat of black chalk paint. And now I'm going back with my brush and some white chalk paint to try and make some of the markings that Stormy has. I love this wooden cat because it's made to sit on the edge of a shelf or table as if the cat is peeking down, as often our Stormy does. Project number 3 is also inspired by Stormy. This little framed piece is from Dollar General, and I used white chalk paint and painted over the words that were already there. I didn't even take the fish off or anything. And then again, I'm using the reverse transfer method with Mod Podge, and this is now going to say the cat's meow. I let it dry 24 hours, and I did the same thing, rubbing back the paper with wet fingers. Now, as you can see, a lot of the words did rub away this time, so I think my fingers just weren't wet enough, or I didn't have the paper quite wet enough as I was rubbing it back. But I'm just going to fix that with a marker. Oh well, you can't win them all. Project number 4 is inspired by Lila, our rescue Catahoula lab. She is 8 years old. Because she is speckled with black and white and gray, I'm using a collage method to cover this little wood dog that I think I got at either Hobby Lobby or Walmart. And I'm just going to be Mod Podging parts of these papers all over the dog. I'm going to continue just to tear pieces just so I know I have enough to cover the dog. I may not put them in the exact same places. Now I'm going to give the wood dog a coat of Waverly black chalk paint and ink. Then I'm going to cover it with Mod Podge and add on all of those pieces of paper. Once that has dried, I'm going to trim around it with my little scissors. And in some places you could probably use the sanding method, but there were too many ins and outs, so I just used my tiny scissors. I removed the covering on this black tag from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue the dog on the bottom. I'm also going to glue this wood bone to the top. This was actually from another Dollar General sign. I just pulled it off and painted it white. I used a black paint pen to write the words "Dog hair don't care" on the bone, and that completes this project. Project number 5 is inspired by Georgia, our female American Eskimo Spitz. She is 4 years old. I'm going to start by painting 2 of these coffee stirrers black, and I'm going to be using this as a rooftop for a small house frame from Dollar Tree. I'm also going to be using these stickers in a few minutes. I'm going to cut these wood pieces and glue them to the top of the house as the roof. Needless to say, this little frame is going to become a dog house, even though none of our dogs would ever sleep in a dog house. Our house is their house. All of our pets are just a tad bit spoiled. None of these stickers really look like Georgia, but this one is the closest to it. So I'm going to be using that one, and I'm going to stick it straight to the front of that frame. I will be adding this other sticker on top, and I'll be using some white paint to kind of try and give her the right coloring. Project number 6 is inspired by Paris, our almost 15-year-old American Eskimo Spitz. I'm going to start by deconstructing this sign from Dollar Tree, and we're going to put it back together after we paint it and make it look a bit more like Paris. I sanded off some of the glitter, but I didn't want to mess with pulling that paper off, so I decided just to paint the back side of this sign. So I'm going to give it 2 good coats of Waverly white chalk paint. The ears will also get 2 coats of white chalk paint. I first decided to paint the frame black, and then I decided maybe it would be better white, so I went over it in some places in white and decided I didn't like it, so I changed it back to black. Now I'm going to be tracing on a face that looks very much like Paris. I'm just using old school carbon paper and a marker to paint in the face. I did use Waverly chalk paint and ballet slipper for his tongue and his ears. I had forgotten I had these little round circles from Dollar Tree, so I decided to use those for his eyes. So I'm going to give them a coat of Waverly chalk paint and ink. I used one of Walmart's black paint pens to color in his nose and his mouth. I glued on his eyes, and I used a white paint pen to give his eyes a little sparkle and dimension. And now I will reassemble the frame, and I will add the ears the opposite that they were to begin with. American Eskimo Spitz ears are pointy and always straight up. And that completes our Paris project. Project number 7 is just a filler piece for our tiered tray. These are pieces from a little pet set from Dollar Tree, and I painted the bone white with Waverly white chalk paint, and I'm painting the bowl black with Waverly ink chalk paint. As you can tell, all of our pets coordinate. They are all black and white, so I figured the bowl and the bone needed to coordinate as well. And now we're ready for the final reveal. Don't forget to stay tuned for the slideshow of all our pets at the end. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, and I hope that you'll consider subscribing. Remember to share the chic. Bye now.